The armed insurrection launched by the chief of the paramilitary Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, lasted less than a day. But it was the biggest challenge to the rule of the Russian president.
Это удар в спину нашей стране и нашему народу.
On Saturday, Wagner seized the southern military district headquarters in the city of Rostov, the main logistical hub for Russian forces operating in Ukraine. They were rolling towards Moscow when a deal said to be negotiated by the Belarusian president between Prigozhin and Putin averted a potential confrontation. The Wall Street Journal's Moscow bureau chief Simmons explains what the short-lived mutiny means for Putin.
This crisis is the most significant test, I believe, that Putin has faced in his 23-year rule. Putin had to back down to a certain degree because he had to go to the negotiating table. In the morning on Saturday, we had Vladimir Putin accusing Prigozhin of instigating an armed rebellion. By the evening, we were seeing that Prigozhin is forgiven and the charges dropped. Now, we do not know what kind of deal Prigozhin got out of this. It is said that he will be going to Belarus, but the Russian population has now seen that President Putin isn't as invincible. This is definitely exposed vulnerability of his power in the eyes of the Russian elite. In terms of what this crisis shows, it shows that there was very little resistance to Prigozhin on his way to Moscow. The very fact that Prigozhin and his troops were able to get within striking distance of Moscow speaks volumes. It shows on the one hand that soldiers in the Russian military maybe weren't willing to take up arms against Prigozhin. His force is quite feared, and we also have to note that a large portion of Russia's army is now on the front lines of Ukraine. Also, there were pictures and videos of people actually greeting Prigozhin and his troops, at least in Rostov in the south. That shows that maybe there is this level of support for Prigozhin that Putin probably underestimated. The question now will be, how does Vladimir Putin regain the narrative that despite that slight glitch, nothing has changed? I still have power. But it's definitely clear that his power, at least the perception of his power, has been eroded.